Okay, so the organ postlude, we can sit.
Yep.
Okay. Then you make your blah blah, right?
Yep.
And then we stand for the hymn. I'll stand, and you'll stand. Is that right?
Well, but they're not even going to see us, are they, on camera?
Are they going to see us in the hymn?
Are you going to?
Okay, so we'll stay seated.
I think we can stay seated for everything.
Okay, thank you. I'll
makes it
take
easy.
your lead.
Yeah.
I don't.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Grace Williams, and I am the chaplain of the college. And I would like to welcome you to the Baccalaureate service for the class of 2020. You are here, virtually here in the Chapel of the Holy Innocents, and we are thrilled that you can join us wherever you might be. Almost 4 years ago, in fact, on August 25th, 2016, I offered the commendation for the class of 2020 at your matriculation ceremony at the Fisher Center. I told you that you were the best first-year class that I had ever known. I then had to disclose to you that you were my first, because like you, I began at Bard in 2016. I understood what that moment was like for so many of you. The anxieties, the fears, the uncertainties of starting at a new place and wondering, am I going to fit in? Will I be successful as a student here? Will I make new friends, discover new passions and interests? And like you, I wondered, what was it going to be like to be a Bardian? I shared with you that you were now part of the sacred and beloved community of Bard, and that you would experience so many wonderful and amazing things. None of us could have predicted what would occur in the winter of 2020, and how our world was manifestly changed with the pandemic, and then later with the murder of George Floyd. Your last semester catapulted you into remote learning, and you faced unprecedented challenges that no other senior class had ever had to face. But you finished your classes, and even more impressively, your senior projects. You also stood up and you proclaimed that Black Lives Matter, and you took to the streets and you protest against racism and police brutality. But now you've already entered into a world beyond Bard. And again, you are facing new anxieties and fears and uncertainties that you experienced 4 years ago. The difference is that over these past 4 years, you have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are the best class. This afternoon, here at the Baccalaureate service, we celebrate all your accomplishments that you achieved while at Bard. And so I'd like to welcome you to this Baccalaureate service, and may God bless each and every one of you. Amen. And now we will continue with our opening hymn, Ye Watchers and Ye Holy Ones, which is found in the program, if you happen to have that on your screen.
Oh, friends, in gladness let us sing, supernal anthems echoing,
It is my honor now to welcome our president, Leon Botstein, who will read from the Hebrew Scriptures.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you virtually to what is probably the most intimate and the oldest part of our commencement ceremonies. In this wonderful chapel, which I think you'll see part of, Bard undergraduates have gathered since the mid-1860s. And the hymn you just heard, which is a harmonization by Rayford Williams of a 17th century hymn, and the hymn that is sung at the end of the service have been the same hymns that have been sung by generations of undergraduates finishing their studies here at the college. In the old days, people got their degrees here. There was no commencement, and people walked up to the altar, and in a way it signified the relationship of prayer and learning, and the idea that by using our minds and our imaginations, we actually do honor to the divine if we believe in the presence of a divine, and that the expression of faith and the exercise of reason and learning are not incompatible. I want to join our chaplain, Mary Grace, in congratulating every member of the class of 2020. It now will go without saying that you will be unique in the annals of the history of American higher education, having to finish out your education in a virtual format. And this class has exceeded every expectation. I speak for the entire faculty and the entire staff in expressing admiration for every single one of you. People predicted this wouldn't happen, that no one would finish, and 100% of you finished. The entire class of 2020 finished their senior projects and their requirements for the degree. So normally this would be crowded, slightly overheated, and there would be, as you will see in a moment, performances and readings by students, a faculty speaker and a student speaker. And it is very important to remember that just as in learning, the expression of faith, I think Mary Grace would agree, is hampered by the isolation. Being a community in this baccalaureate service is the best symbol of the community of this college. The sense of community, of singing together and being in a very crowded space all together, where there are no outsiders because there's no room for any parent and hardly room for anybody but the faculty and the graduating class. That sense of community is something that strengthens everyone's self-confidence. We are social beings, and we are encouraged by the reinforcement of our own beliefs, by the beliefs of others, to learn as a group, to study as a group, and to have a community of the faithful is made impossible by technology. We need to hearken to the fears of technology and the so-called wonders, whether those fears come from a critical left base of theory or from a right conservative base of theory. What we've learned in this pandemic is that to be who we are, to lead the contemplative and active life, we need to be in a community in real time, in real place. So at least is a consolation that we can hold this baccalaureate from the building which the baccalaureate normally takes place. Before going to my appointed task, which as the first Jewish president of this institution, I'm appropriately assigned the reading from the Old Testament so that doesn't cross the boundaries of any either habit or absence of belief. I want to thank all the members of the staff of the college that have made this virtual ceremony possible. takes a lot of work, and behind the scenes there are dozens of people, B&G and the environmental service workers, and faculty and staff that have made this event possible. And I want to particularly recognize the chaplaincy, and although we are born in the Anglican Communion, and this is an Anglican church, not an interdenominational church, and we're proud to have the Bishop of New York, the Diocese of New York on our board. This is a non-sectarian institution, and if anything, is an agnostic institution. But we try to serve the spiritual needs of our students with a chaplaincy that includes Mary Grace, representing the Episcopal and the Protestant Church. We have David Nelson, our rabbi, who has been a Jewish chaplain for many years here. And we have also Nora Zaki, who is our Muslim chaplain, and Tatiana Moko von Prittwitz und Grafen, who has been our Buddhist chaplain. And I want to say that they all have worked tirelessly across denominational grounds with the students here to provide a dimension that the secular counseling often is not able to do. And I want to thank them for their work, and they are responsible for organizing this baccalaureate service. I finally want to recognize Renee Lupret, who is the organist. You saw her playing a portative organ, which was a gift in honor of her predecessor, Frederick Hammond, who retired after many years of service. You also saw her from some remote organ, which is not this portative organ. And I want to thank her for participating in this service. So, without further ado, I'd like to read from the Old Testament, actually a text which is honored by both, from the 121st Psalm. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where is my help to come? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved, and he who watches over you will not fall asleep. Behold, he who keeps watch over Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. So that the sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. It is he who shall keep you safe. The Lord shall watch over your going out and your coming in from this time forth forevermore. I've asked for the privilege to introduce our next event, which is the faculty speaker. Ordinarily, that person would be here, assembled with the faculty in the chapel. But because of COVID, he's not. But his selection by the senior class is very deeply appropriate. He came to Bard in 1987, Matthew Deedy, professor of physics, and he retired at the end of the 20 spring semester. This last year was his last year. He won't be a stranger because he's among the most beloved faculty members in our modern history. And his colleagues and students would like to encourage him to temper his retirement and return from his native Chicago, where he and his wife Mary have moved. Matthew Deedy taught math and physics here, primarily physics, since 1987. So he has watched the college grow and develop, and he has been an exemplary teacher. He came to us from MIT via Mount Holyoke, and he transformed the teaching of physics, also pioneered in the rapid growth of the science division. And in addition to being a fantastic teacher and a wonderful physicist, he was a true man of the liberal arts as a faculty member. He was the person whom you could see at theater productions, at concerts, at art exhibits. He taught in the first year seminar. He participated in the integration of the sciences in all of the liberal arts. And that academic leadership ran parallel to an unbelievable and rare gift of being a faculty leader without being a partisan of any particular faction. He was a genuine civic leader. He led the faculty in many, many guises on committees, as a member of the executive committee. I kidded him that I don't think there's a committee on this college faculty he has not sat on. And he has been a voice of reason and of principle, both defending faculty rights and fighting for both improvements in conditions for the faculty and also exhorting them to work in concert on behalf of the college and its mission. His retirement is a great loss, and nobody could talk him out of it, but I don't think we'll see the last of him, and it is very appropriate for him to be this year's baccalaureate speaker. So without further ado, Matthew Deedy, Professor of Physics at Bard.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the class of 2020 for inviting me here this afternoon to be your speaker. I really couldn't ask for a better retirement send-off. One of the things I've enjoyed for the 30 or so baccalaureates that I've been to is the real sense of community that it has. And I've really loved listening to my faculty colleagues send our beloved students out into the world with some wonderful ideas about what they should carry forward from their time here at Bard. Being a scientist myself, I'm going to build my talk around two quotes from scientists. There's no quiz, don't worry. The first one is from probably the best known scientist of the 20th century, Albert Einstein, who said, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It's the source of all true art and science. He to whom the emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed." Now, it may surprise you that Einstein, who knew a lot, would focus on the unknown. But this is really a call to you, because this is a reminder that even though you have accomplished enormous amounts in your time at Bard, there still is this ocean of unknown and undone out there for you to take part in. This is a positive message, not a negative one. It means you never have to face a boring day for the rest of your life. It means there's always something more to be discovered, something more to be improved on, and it's really a call to you to keep doing that as you go forward. One of the books I loved when I was your age was called the Encyclopedia of Ignorance. And in this book, experts from a wide variety of fields talked about what the limits of our accomplishment was in each field and what still remained to be done outside of that. I took this as a call to myself to dedicate my life really to chipping away at that mountain of unknown stuff, to try to get farther on it. And what I've done in my life as a teacher is try to bring my students along on that journey together. It meant that I've had a really wonderful time doing this. I hope they have too. But I really think that this is something that we can take forward for all of our lives, as to look around for what's out there. The second quote comes from someone who was a biochemist, but he's better known as a science fiction writer, and that was Isaac Asimov. He said, "The most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not, 'Eureka, I found it.' It's, 'Huh, that's funny.'" Now, what Asimov was getting at here is what you should be thinking about. Look at the world differently. Get engaged. Ask yourself if it makes sense to you. Is this the way it has to be, or is it how it even should be? And if it isn't how it should be, if there's something still undone, then that's a call for you to apply yourself to do it. The beginning starts with openness. Have your mind open, have your senses alive, have your spirit open to possibility. So when you go forward in the world, you will always be looking for what remains to be done and what could be done, and you'll always have something to keep you engaged. When I first came to Bard, I had actually taught at another school before. And so after I've been in Annandale a while, people ask me, well, what's really the difference between the students of the two schools? And what I always said with delight in my voice was that Bard students never let me off easy. They always asked why, how. They wanted to go deeper. They wanted to figure out more and to see how they could go farther. That meant I was constantly being pushed, and in turn, I pushed them and put the standards up on them. That's the attitude of a Bard student that I want you to carry forward into the world. Look what's around. Look what could be improved on. What could be discovered that isn't known yet. What could be made better for yourself or for someone else out there. You know there are lots of challenges in the world. The fact that we're doing this in this mode even tells you that. But what you should have is an attitude that you can make a difference and you can actually accomplish something as long as you keep that spirit of wonder and that spirit of active engagement alive. So please do that. And thank you again for having me here today.
Thank you, Matthew Dede. And now I would like to introduce Yasser Abdul Fattah, who will be reading from the Quran.
Assalamu alaikum, class of 2020. Peace be upon you. My name is Yazir Abdul Fattah, and I'm currently a rising sophomore. First of all, I would love to say congratulations, class of 2020. Your hard work paid off, and I'm excited to see all the beautiful things you get yourself involved in. Today, I've been invited here to read some excerpts from the Quran and translate it into English, and I decided to read Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Nas, and Surah Al-Falaq. Without further ado, I'm going to go into Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. And the translation for Surah Al-Fatiha goes by, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the most compassionate, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those you have blessed, not of those who have incurred your wrath, nor of those who have gone astray. Without further ado, I am going to go into Surah Al-Nas. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kul huwaz bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharri waswasikan nas, allazi waswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. And the translation for Surah Al-Nas goes by, I seek refuge with Allah, the Lord of the mankind, the King of mankind, the God of mankind, from the evil of the whisperer who withdraws, who whispers in the breast of mankind, of jinns and men. Without further ado, I am going to go into Surah Al-Falaq. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, min sharri ma alaq, wa min sharri ghasikin idha waqab, wa min sharri nafasati fil 'uqad, wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. And the translation for Surah Al-Falaq goes by, I seek refuge with Allah, the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil of what He has created, and from the evil of the darkening as it comes with its darkness, and from the evil of the witchcrafts when they blow in the knots, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. Thank you very much for allowing me to share some excerpts from the Quran with you all. Congratulations, class of 2020, and I'm excited to see all the beautiful things you get yourself involved in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the senior of the class of 2020, Patricia Seacutt, who will be speaking to her class.
Good afternoon, fellow students, parents, faculty, and staff. It's nearly the end of August, and the big commencement tent is still up on the rugby field. However, there's no tent party or an extended shuttle schedule running until 4 a.m. for this year's ceremonious weekend. Campus is in the midst of L&T after all. 4 years ago, we began freshman year lined up outside our professors' doors to register personally for their classes. Being placed in such a situation that forced us to be present to show up for our choices has made a lasting impact. This in-person experience at Bard switched over to online suddenly in our senior year. Regardless, I am honored to be with you all again this Friday afternoon. Since March, as we have slowly trickled away from Annandale, I've noticed a collective camaraderie emerge within the student body. Locally, I saw many of us who stayed in the area show up for protests around Bard. Virtually and on various platforms, we have actively collectivized to have our voices heard. During this time of visible systemic injustice and by the conditions brought on by COVID-19, we did not let being constrained in one place thwart us. This resilient fellowship, which blossomed, reminds me of what I felt touring Bard on Accepted Students Day. It's hard to pinpoint now, but just by being surrounded by the beautiful trees made me feel like part of the community. We have succeeded a lot since then. The decision to attend Bard College didn't involve figuring out how to be part of a community. It was based on individual ambitions. As for myself, in my time at Bard, I overcame my fear of asking for help. It was the unprecedented community aspect that fostered my difficulty away. We all faced many challenges throughout the 4 years, especially the last few months of the semester. We transitioned to online classes, Zoom work sessions, all the while we diligently finished our senior projects. Our creativity and determination for finishing deserves recognition. We pushed through without studio access, lab access, or chances to present or perform our work in person. This resilience exhibited by the class of 2020 makes me hopeful that each one of us is capable of what lies ahead. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. We are now honored to hear from the Baccalaureate Choir a piece of meditation by Palestrina. It is with great pleasure that I introduce the next student, Artur Kalongo, who was a faithful participant of our chapel services here on Sundays at 3 o'clock. This is a pleasure to welcome him to read a text from the New Testament.
Hello everyone. Please let us read from the Word of God in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 3 to 10, and then 13 to 16. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has become tasteless, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under foot by men. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand. It gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. The word of the Lord.
Thank you, Artur. And now we are honored with a meditation by Isabella Argandiza by Sterzo. And now it is with joy that I present our final speaker, Armando Dunn, who is of the class of 2019. He is our alumni speaker, but currently he is here at Bard as the coordinator of clubs and student activities. So we welcome Armando.
Good day to all staff, students, and faculty. It is my pleasure and honor to address the class of 2020 as this year's alumni speaker. Congrats to everyone for making it to the finish line. As I thought about what to say to the class of 2020, I was at a loss for words. There's so much happening all over the country and all over the world, and so many families and communities have been impacted. Despite all of that, each and every one of you have overcome so many obstacles and unforeseen challenges, and you guys have risen to the occasion. Over your 4-year academic career, you've experienced and been a part of language and thinking, citizen science, you conquered senior project, as well as the opening of Gilson Place, and countless other experiences and opportunities that I know that you've all taken advantage. In addition to that, you all have mastered one really key tool. You guys are all Zoom experts. With all this in mind, hold on to all the positive experiences, the hardships, everything that you've encountered and faced throughout your Bard experience. The reason being, all of it will help you move forward in the future. The culmination of all of these experiences will not only make you a better person, it will help you move forward when you're out in the real world. Remember, the hardest part about moving on to this new chapter in your life are the sacrifices and the adjustments that you have to make that may be uncomfortable. In today's society, it's easy to psych yourself out and think that you have to instantly succeed. However, success never happens instantly. Success is a process. You have to continue to work toward it. Because success is a process, I want you to always strive to do everything in excellence. It won't happen the first time, it may not happen the second time, and it may not even happen the third time, but it will happen for you if you stay on a good pace and you continue to work toward whatever you dream of. As a former student and now staff member, I've collaborated on different projects with all of you, I've taken classes with some of you, and I've also worked with you on creating amazing events. I just want to say again how proud I am of all of you, and that there's no doubt in my mind that you will all be sophisticated, intellectual young adults as you move on after Bard. Congrats again to the class of 2020. I know that all of you will be great.
Thank you, Armando. And now I'd like to welcome Hattie Wilder Karlstrom, who will be doing a meditation by Johann Sebastian Bach. And for our benediction, as we come to the close of this service, I would like to introduce Nora Zaki, who is our Muslim chaplain.
Thank you, Hattie. Benediction comes from the Latin to speak well, or the good words, and are a final blessing on the community. A benediction is a blessing, words of comfort, strength, and encouragement for the week to come. I hope this blessing offers you all some comfort, strength, and encouragement, and perhaps even more for this week and beyond. Dear God, we thank you for this gathering to commemorate the class of 2020, who have demonstrated resilience and strength during these trying times. Dear God, Lord of the worlds, give our graduates patience, guidance, inner peace, and wisdom, for they have exited Bard College and entered into a world full of unknowns and uncertainties. Dear God, during this time of COVID-19, quarantine, and other hardships endured, many of us have felt isolated and alone. Let our graduates use that time to know themselves and reflect on the world around them while granting them comfort in their solitude. For those people our graduates may have lost, either family, friends, colleagues, and those they know and love, please ease their grief and pain during the pandemic, for indeed with hardship comes ease. Dear God, bless the parents, caregivers, and beloved friends and family, either biological or chosen, who have supported our graduates financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and in countless other ways. May we take the time to thank our professors, administrators, and all of those at Bard College who have helped to facilitate the class of 2020 to graduate. May God give our graduates the ability to have anger, righteous indignation at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of any people in any part of our nation or the world, so that they will work for justice, equality, and peace, and that the lives of those murdered unjustly, especially in the year 2020, do not become forgotten. Let our graduates understand and actualize that their liberation is bound up with the liberation of others, and let them work together for the common good of all, especially for those less advantaged in themselves. Let these graduates use their intellect in Bard education for continuous good. Give them fulfilling jobs and what they want on their next path in life, striving to work for the greater good. May they be able to experience joy, love, and happiness. Let us all have compassion, kindness, and mercy towards each other, notably during these times and after the times of the pandemic. Lord, you are the truth, and from you comes the truth. Hear our prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Nora. Our final hymn is The Spacious Firmament, which is also found in the bulletin if you have that online. And this will be followed by our postlude, which is going to be played by our organist of the college, Renee Lepret. It will be a piece by Johann Sebastian Bach.
Spacious firmament
Renee, thank you. Thank you, Renee. Fantastic. Great. What was the organ we recorded them with?